On the move, everybody. That's right. That's what we are, and that's what everybody better be. On the move. You know, this government ain't playing no games with black people. This government ain't playing no games with black people. Y'all know that, don't you? You know, I thought long and hard about what I was going to say when I got up here. I don't know whether you know it or not, but this is my first speaking engagement since I've been released from prison. I've done media interviews, but this is my first speaking engagement. And I thought long and hard about what I was going to say. But after coming in here and seeing you, you know, I know we're all family, so we just going to talk. You know, we just going to get down to the real nitty-gritty, you know. That's right. You know, what's happening with the MOVE organization is that we are revolutionaries, true revolutionaries, and we don't make no apologies for that. You know, we don't back off of that word revolution at all. And we don't back off of it because we know that at this time, more than any other time, you know, revolution is necessary. It is necessary. Not only based on what has happened with the MOVE organization, you know, the babies that have been murdered, you know, MOVE adults that have been murdered, bombs being dropped on us, but past that to what is happening with all black people, so-called minority people, you know, money poor people. You know, this government, as has been said earlier, has waged war on us. But you know, something about us, particularly here in America, we don't really understand that. You know, we don't really know what war is. You know, we see problems, we complain about it, but at the same time, when an organization like MOVE, you know, tells people exactly what's happening with this government and what needs to be done to stop it, then you have some people who want to then turn around and say, yeah, well, you know, it's the best we have, and want to make excuses. The time for excuses is over. It's over. You know, every man, woman, and child has to be involved in this revolution. Not only has to be, but is, whether you want to be or not. I mean, our babies gave their lives for this revolution on May 13th. You know, men, women, and children were murdered. And not just MOVE babies, you know. What about all of the young men, women, you know, children 8, 9 years old, shot down on the street by cops, you know, by drug pushers? I mean, you know, where do you think that mentality comes from? It comes from this system, from the mentality of this system of getting over, you know, making a quick buck, you know. I'm saying that's where that drug pushing mentality comes from. That's where that get over mentality comes from, you know, and that has been indoctrinated in our people, and we got to deal with that. But the point is that when you truly are involved in revolution, you deal with all that, because revolution ain't a category. It ain't a category at all. It deals with every aspect of your life. It's not a 9 to 5. It's not something you deal with for a couple of hours a day and then that's it. It's not something you deal with 5 days a week and then take a break from on the weekend. You know, these cops ain't taking no break. You know, these government officials that's waging war on us ain't taking no break. You know, it's a full-time, it goes past the job. It's work. It is work. And anybody that don't want to be involved in that work ain't got no right to complain when they're victimized by the thing they running from and trying to, you know, duck. You know, the point is you're going to be victimized by this system, by this government, whether you stand up and fight or not. You know, I mean, you got a crystallized example of that in L.A. with Rodney King. I mean, he don't consider himself no revolutionary. He wasn't taking no stand for a cause. You know, he wasn't talking about fighting this government and lifting the oppression of this government off of people. He wasn't talking about that. He was just going about his day-to-day business, but nevertheless, it struck him, didn't it? You know, what happened is in 1978, my brother Delbert Africa, who was arrested when the cops came out to our home in Powelton Village in Philadelphia, you know, planning to kill MOVE people. You know, at the end of that confrontation, when MOVE people came out of MOVE headquarters unarmed, the cops attacked Delbert and beat him almost to death. Unbeknownst to the cops, they were being videotaped, just like the situation in LA. Just like the situation in LA, the cops were acquitted when they finally did go to trial. They were acquitted, only not by a jury, but the judge stopped the trial right in the middle of it, dismissed the jury, and said that he was going to take over. He would make the decision, and he acquitted all three of those cops of all charges concerning beating my brother. But the point is, when that happened, people did not stand up, you know, and make a statement about it. They did not stand up and send a clear message to this system that that kind of behavior, that kind of injustice wasn't going to be tolerated. So what happened? You have a Rodney King. Now, when the situation happened with Rodney King, you know, people out in LA, they wasn't standing for that. They wasn't standing for it at all. They reacted to it. And because they reacted to it and reacted to it strongly, the president of this country was forced to get on national television and make a statement about it. Now, it don't matter what he did about it. It don't matter even exactly what he said. The point is, he got on nationwide TV and spoke to the issue, not because he wanted to, not because he had any intention of doing it, but because the reaction of people in LA that sparked the flame in people across this country forced him to do it. Forced him to do it. You know, that is the kind of power that people have. And that's just one example. You know, what people got to understand is that unity is the key. Unity is the key to revolution. Revolution ain't nothing to be afraid of. It ain't nothing to shy away from. Revolution, contrary to what officials, you know, this system and those backing the officials running this system, you know, want people to believe that revolution means violence, you know, means blood in the street. I'm saying it can get to that point, but it don't have to be violent. You know, when people come together and take a strong stand on an issue, this government don't have no choice but to listen. Where you think they get their authority from? They don't have no power, but they do have authority to do certain things. Where you think they get it from? They get it from us, from the people. You know, they get it from us accepting the things that they do and not putting a stop to it when we don't like it, or encouraging it when it's something that's in our interest. You know, we have to call the shots. The people have to take the reins of this system and start dictating, you know, what we need, what needs to be done. And, you know, taking the initiative to do it ourselves. We can't rely on this system. I mean, you know, don't people see what's happening? Every single confrontation that MOVE people have been involved in, every single issue, you know, oppression, economic issues, every single issue facing our people, you know, is something that can be dealt with very, very simply. All people got to do is make their wishes known. All people have to do is stand up and say, listen, we're not accepting that. We don't want it. When a young black man gets shot down in the street, you know, don't just sit back and say that's a shame, you know, and go to the funeral. I mean, that ain't enough. That ain't getting it no more. That ain't getting it no more. And one thing black people have to be careful about is being fooled by color. Black skin don't mean nothing. I mean, it was a black mayor that dropped that bomb on us, that sanctioned that bomb being dropped on us. And I don't care what he knew beforehand or what he actually said or did. The point is, you know, he is the mayor. He's responsible for it. And after it happened, the man said he would do it again. That's all I need to know. You know, that's all anybody needs to know. You know, what I want people to really, really understand is that it's past time. It is past time for poor people, black people, you know, to realize that this system has failed you. It has failed you. You can't get nothing from it. And what people got to do is withdraw our support from it and start doing for ourselves. That's what we got to do. You know, how long are people going to sit back and beg, you know, this government to do what's right when for hundreds of years all you've gotten is a slap in the face? All you've gotten is this government kicking your ass. That's all. That's all black people have ever gotten from this government. You know, there ain't nothing that this government has so-called done, you know, for black people, for poor people, that people see as good, that they wasn't forced to do, that they didn't do to try to keep black people appeased, you know, and calm down so that black people wouldn't riot. A prison situation is a crystallized example of that. You can make phone calls in prison. They have movies in prison. But they don't have those things because they just want to be nice to prisoners. They have those things because they know damn well if they don't have, you know, people being able to contact their family, if they don't have, you know, facilities for people to sit there and watch movies, people are going to be frustrated, upset, and they're going to direct that frustration at them prison administrators. And they're going to have riots on their hands. You know, they're going to have people in them prisons turning them prisons out. That's why they have movies. That's why they have access to phones the way they do, where you can just, you know, get on the phone and make phone calls, you know, anywhere you want to. They got that kind of thing in prison. But they don't have it because they just want to be nice. And when this government does certain things, small things, you know, like maybe put a swimming pool in a neighborhood, you know, fix up a little something here, they don't do it because they want to be nice. You know, when they conduct an investigation because there's a, you know, outcry about an issue, they don't do it to solve it, you know, to clear the situation up and do what is in the interest of the people. They do it because they got pressure on them, you know, and they know they better do it or they're going to have big trouble on their hands. That's the only thing this government understands is pressure. You know, that's all they understand, pressure. They only do what they're pressured to do. And that's what MOVE has been doing for 20 years, keeping the pressure on this government, you know, keeping MOVE heat on them. They didn't come out there on August 8th of 78 and try to kill my sisters and brothers because they wasn't feeling no pressure. They came out there with one intention in mind: silencing MOVE people from telling the truth, from giving people the principle of giant Africa and showing them the urgency of revolution. MOVE people were exposing these government officials, stripping them buck naked before everybody, and they couldn't stand it. And because they don't have no intention of doing what's right, of correcting the problems that they've caused, what they did is came out there to try to kill MOVE people, you know, wanting to silence us forever, but they ain't done it. Today, MOVE is stronger, more committed than we was 7 years ago on May 13th of 1985. We are stronger today than we was 14 years ago on August 8th of 1978. And 2 years from now, we're going to be even stronger. This government ain't never going to stop the MOVE organization or the revolution that Giant Africa is generating.